Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Mom-Versations. I'm so excited to have you joining us again for our second season. For those who are tuning in for the first time and don't know what in the world is Aretha doing turning on her camera, you are tuning into Mom-Versations, and hopefully you'll stick around to hear about the beautiful guest that I have today. But to tell you a little bit about what you're tuning into, this is Mom-Versations. And you might ask, what in the world is Mom-Versations? Mom-Versations is my passion project that was on my mind. Anyone else can attest. You sit there and there's like this idea and it's just sitting there and you finally do it. And it's like so fulfilling. So I'm curious. This is on my second season. So if you missed the first season, you're welcome to tune in. It's either below. I have them posted every Tuesday on Facebook, or you can go on my YouTube channel at Aretha Scruggs, and you can check out some of my songs, but also check out the past interviews that I've had. We've had amazing guests, singers, directors. This show, as I'm telling you, this show is a show where we hear real stories of incredible moms making waves in our world, from entertainers to entrepreneurs and beyond. So thank you tonight for joining Mom-Versations to really learn, what are we talking about? I'm talking about, and just kind of hosting this conversation so you and I can join and listen to, really it's kind of a autobiography or a vlogger, whatever. It's a video biography, autobiography. And it's just listening to someone's story and just listening, how do they thrive in purpose and in motherhood, which are two of my greatest passions. As those of you know, my daughter Imani is 4, and you'll hear about my guest today. She has a beautiful 3-year-old boy named Matt. So we are, let me introduce my guest. So don't forget again to follow, like, and share, and you'll see other Mom-Versations coming up. But let me tell you about my guest. My guest today is a beautiful friend of mine, Josie Aiello. And I should have asked how you say your name. She'll tell me in a minute. Aiello, and she is an award-winning singer, BMI songwriter, performer, vocal arranger, and worship leader with 3 self-titled album releases under her belt. Josie began singing at the age of 9 at her parents' Sicilian restaurant in Chicago. She's from Chicago and has now a reputation of having powerful vocals and an ability to command an audience. Josie, really, her claim to fame, she came to be seen and found by Quincy Jones. Get this, she was personally signed to Quincy Jones' record and publishing label with Warner Brothers, and it resulted in her debut CD, Unconventional Girl, which was released in 2000, produced by Grammy-winning writer and producer Ashley Ingram. Since then, Josie has been called to record for J-Lo, Cher, Jessie J, Ciara, Enrique Iglesias, Andra Day, Rita Ora, Kenny Loggins, Ramsey Lewis, Patty Austin, just to name a few. And she's featured on major soundtracks such as That Thing You Do, The Out of Towners, South Park, Dinosaur, The Guardian, and Hairspray. Most recently, she's had the chance to record background vocals. Actually, how we got to work together this past year. She recorded background vocals for the upcoming Aretha Franklin biopic that features Jennifer Hudson, that's coming out in January of 2021. So, and she was recently featured on the cover of November 2019 Creative Artist magazine. And she's done national TV and radio commercials, and people love her voice and her voiceover work. She's toured with Don Hensley and other artists, but she is also a wife and a mother, as I said, of 3-year-old Matthew. So I'm going to take this time to introduce you, or to those who are on the chat who know Josie, come on and say hello in the comments, but I'm going to bring her on now. Okay, so here we go. Listen in. Welcome, Josie.
Hey, Aretha. Thank you so much for asking me to be on. I love you. You're my sweetheart. I just love you.
Yes,
I love singing with you too.
I love singing with Josie. We've had quite a few times to not only sing together in studios, but at church. And we just always have a good time. I think I had just had a baby, and she was having a baby when I first met her.
Yes.
And she gave me the approval already to say, for those, I had to get the approval because I wanted to make sure. But Josie had her first child, beautiful Matthew. You can see pictures. I'll put her her social media handles up when I post this. But she had her first child at 50, ladies and gentlemen, 50. So we're going to jump into that story to really hear. This is why I have these conversations. And I was telling Josie offline, because in our industry, in the entertainment industry, we are so like, oh, it's too late for me. Oh, it can't happen for me, and just give up. But I love stories like this, hearing Josie's story of how she got married, and here she is. She's had her first child at 50. So, so I'm going to open the floor for Josie. We're going to start with our first question of the night. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, and we'll start with the music part. How did you get into music?
Well, like you said earlier, I'm from Chicago, born and raised, and my family owned a Sicilian restaurant in Chicago. And I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I was a salad maker. And they used to have a little piano player outside, like, entertaining the guests. And he would sit there and play, Italian songs and jazz standards and stuff. And I would always peek my head out of the kitchen and, man, I wish I could sing with him one time, So I finally said, Daddy, can I sing? And he's like, well, first clean up your station and then go on out there and sing a song. And I went out there and sang a song. And it was like, I was 8 years old, and I literally was getting gigs at 8 years old.
Wow.
Come sing at my wedding, come sing at this festival, come perform for this event, and And I was being booked I had an agent at 9.
Wow.
And so that's really how I started. And then, of course, back in the day, I saw the movie A Star is Born with Barbara Streisand, and I lost my mind. And, I went and got a perm. I went and did everything. I wanted to be Barbara Streisand so bad. And that's how I started. It just kept going and going and going. And then I went to a performing arts high school. And then I got a scholarship to DePaul University School of Music. And, little by little, it just was growing and growing and growing. And I was working with Phil Ramone at the time. And, so it's been an amazing journey. Let me tell you, it's really been an amazing journey, but that's how I started, was in that restaurant.
Wow.
And the first song I ever sang in public was Misty in the key of C.
Come on, Misty. Yes.
How did you know the words to Misty? What do you even know about Misty? Like,
you want to give us a little
every weekend? Huh?
I've never done this, but do you want to give us a little taste of Misty?
Look at me.
Yes, I love me some Misty. Yes. Oh, I got Misty, especially the Sarah Vaughan version. Yeah.
Right.
Great. So how did you come to California? What led you to come out here?
I love my city. I love Chicago. It's my hometown. But the industry, at the time, maybe it's better now, but it really wasn't in Chicago. Chicago's a corporate town. You do lots of jingles, and there's not a lot of records being made. Well, there wasn't a lot of records being made, I should say, at the time. R. Kelly was like the only, the claim to fame in Chicago.
Wow.
And so I said, I need to go either the East Coast or West Coast. I need to get into the industry. And that's how I ended up coming to West Coast. I love palm trees, and I was sick of cold weather,
Yeah.
So I went to the West Coast, and I started just networking with people and, writing. I started learning how to write. I never wrote before. So before I came to LA, I was always singing other songs, other people's songs. So when I came here, I started, learning how to write songs. And I ended up with QD3, Quincy's son. And we started writing for other artists. And one song I wrote was called Heavy Heart. And I had sung it on the demo. And QD3 said, let me send this to my father, because this is a really special song. I said, okay. Well, he didn't tell him that it was me singing it. So Quincy fell in love with the song and was like, who's this artist? Who's singing this song? And he said, oh, that's the writer.
Wow.
That's how my introduction to Quincy happened, So he was like, okay, we want to see her tomorrow. And I just literally remember going to Quincy's house, standing outside, going the doorbell. I can't do it. Oh my God, wait. Okay. And I called up my mother at the time. I'm like, Mom, I can't do it. She's like, you better press that doorbell.
Right.
She's like, you better press that bell. And so that's how it happened, and then I basically, I had a deal faxed to me the next day,
Wow.
So that's how I came to the West Coast, though.
Wow. Now, for those who might be watching, who are newbies, who, maybe they just graduated from music school, or they're trying to jump out here, what was your first act? Like, what was your first step, even once you moved out here? How'd you meet Quincy Jones' son. What were your first steps to kind of get out there?
Yeah. At the time we had cassettes. We had my little cassette. And I was just basically going to studios and just, meeting people and handing out my cassettes and my demo at the time, saying if you need vocals for this, if you need, vocals for that. I had known a few people here, that had known a couple of writers. I met, Alan Rich and Judd Friedman, and I was singing their demos at the time. And, so, there was a lot of different people. Diane Warren, I sang some of her demos. And, so all of a sudden I started becoming this demo singer in Los Angeles.
Wow.
And so then, after that, they started calling me to do writing sessions as well. And then it just, little by little, but, it's a hustle. It's definitely a hustle. Show up in LA. I'm like, okay, I'm here,
Right.
I'm good. I'm here. So call me,
Right.
It's not that it doesn't happen like that. And then little by little, I met, managers and attorneys and, it's just networking, really, really getting it out, because back then we didn't really have social media,
Right.
So it was get out on the pavement and, get up and who's in this studio and what project is happening over here. And, can I just come and hang out? And, so I didn't have kids, though.
Right.
I could just be out or go into clubs and meeting musicians and, oh, I'm doing this project, you should come and sing on it or whatever, so it was a lot of networking.
Wow. Is music all that you've done your whole life?
All my life.
That's awesome.
All my life. It's all I've ever done. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, that's a lie. I'm sorry. I did work at my mom and dad's restaurant as a waitress one time, and my mom fired me. She was like, you suck as a waitress. You're going to kill our business. No.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I've been full-time music since 8 years old, basically.
Wow.
It's a blessing,
Yes, it is.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. So tell us about your family. How did you meet your husband? How did Matthew come about at 50? Maybe not that technical, but
well, I was performing at Cafe Cordial with a girl group. It was a ladies' night event, and this is a kind of a funny story. And he was there on a date.
Wow.
And make a long story short, it really wasn't a date. They had met, it was like online or whatever. It was their first date out. And he said it wasn't working out at all. But I was on stage and she came in. We were on a break and I was in the restroom and I was kind of powdering up and everything. I was all sweaty. And she came in and she said, oh my God, she said, you're so good. And I would love you to meet my friend. We came here to see you guys tonight. I said, oh, sure, I'll be out in a second. So I went out and I met them. I met him, I'm sorry, because she was out smoking. And that was the first signal because he hates cigarettes. Yeah. And so we started talking and he's like, well, where are you going to be performing next? And blah, 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 blah. So we started talking and he came out to another show of mine. And so we started, you want to have a drink one time? And I'm like, what about your girlfriend? And he's like, that is not my girlfriend. So, we hooked up on our first date and it was like, I had known him for 25 years. I mean, it was, I've never felt a connection like that with anyone in my life. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I always say like our first date was our engagement. Cause I mean, literally we were like inseparable after our first date. We just,
wow.
And it's also because, we were older, we had both been married before. Mm-hmm. There was no games, here I am.
No games.
You don't like it, and you don't play any games. It was just, and we had, even though we were from completely two different countries. I mean, he's from Jamaica, we had so much in common. It was
wow.
So make a long story short, we ended up getting married and we're like, okay, we're in our late 40s. How are we going to do a family? We're going to have to adopt,
Yeah.
Well, let's try first. And it didn't work for a long time. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this isn't working. And so let's go see a fertility doctor. You know what I mean? So we ended up, doing IVF. Mm-hmm. But, that's, I will say that this was God all day long because there were several 20-something and 30-something-year-old people in that waiting room that blessed with a baby. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, we did several tries, several miscarriages, and after a while I just kind of went, you know what, we're done. I can't handle this no more. I mean, it was just, after a while it just takes such a toll on you. You know what I mean? You're doing shots and pills and 85 million visits and, and then I said, after about 6 months, I said, you want to try one more time? And he's like, I really don't want to put you through it. I said, just one more time. Mama knows, Mama knows. And Matthew came.
Wow. Miracle baby.
He came a month early. I mean, I was so high risk, you know what I mean? It was,
Yeah.
I was basically, feet up the whole time. But he came a month early, which was really scary. He was in a NICU ward for a couple weeks. We had a little jaundice, all normal stuff, jaundice, a little anemic, blah, blah, blah. But, man, the minute I saw that face and heard that cry, I mean, it's just a feeling. It's just so beautiful. It's such,
Wow.
I always say, the most beautiful thing I've ever seen is a mother breastfeeding her baby.
Wow. Yeah.
Natural connection. It's an unmatched connection.
Yes.
You can touch it.
Yes.
You can touch it.
No. Nothing like babies. Nothing like your baby.
Yeah. However, at 50, it takes a toll. It's a blessing, and I'm so excited to have him. But I don't recommend it because it took my body is a little broke up from it. I have hip issues and back issues, and and he's 3 and I'm 54 now. I'm chasing after a 3-year-old, and my friends, their kids are in college.
Yeah.
So it's quite a demographic difference, but so what,
Yes.
And man, I love him to death. I would kill for him and I would die for him.
Yes, that's a babies. Oh, what a beautiful story. What a beautiful story.
All from a gig, see?
Right.
All started with a gig.
Met him at a gig. Come on.
All started with a gig.
I love it. I love it. Well, can you tell us about, or moving into the purpose section, what do you think is your purpose? How do you tie that in with the music and even with your family? How have you been able to balance those things?
Yeah. I believe that my calling or my purpose is basically touching people's lives through song. I just, it's what I've done all my life. I love to write songs and watch people either, get happy, get sad, feel the lyric, basically. Yeah. That to me, I have a quick story. My father is staying with us right now. He's 85 years old, and he has a nurse coming in. And she came in, a couple of days. This literally just happened on Monday. And she came in and she was talking about her son was having a hard time. He's, strung out and this and that. And she was taking care of my father, but she was just in tears. And I said, oh my God, this woman needs prayer, So I prayed for her and I said, hey, listen, I said, it's a few years old, but take my CD and maybe listen to it and, maybe get into a little worship mode. It might lift your spirits a little bit. She came here today and she was like, she was hugging me and thanking me. This is what it's about. You know what I mean? This is your song, this one and that one. I'm not going to name songs or anything, but she's like, this one just moved me so much. And, it just brought me to my knees and it made me realize that God is here and he loves me. And
wow.
I started to cry because, this is my purpose. This is why I sing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
This is my calling. This is my purpose. This is why I sing. Her heart was moved, you know what I mean? And so that's my, my calling and, and how that ties into my family. I mean, I want to create a beautiful, loving, healthy atmosphere for my family,
Yeah.
And worship music always does that immediately. I mean, my son is listening. My son listens to everything though, but he loves worship music too.
Yes.
His prayers every night and, he loves Jesus and, he's so precious.
Yes.
So yeah.
I love it. I love it. So it's your calling. It's your calling really as serving others and serving others through song.
Yeah.
I love it. How was it? How did you even get to that place of even finding your purpose? Again, speaking to maybe someone who's younger on the call and they're, again, just in the start of their career and they're like wrestling with who am I really? How do I even find that? How was the purpose? How was the journey of finding you, even though you've been in music since you're 8 years old? How has that journey been even throughout it, where you can, in this industry, be pulled so many different directions and people want you to wear this, say this, sing this? How has it been that journey of finding you? Well,
again, like you said, we've been hired to sing every genre under the sun. You know what I mean? I'm a rock singer. I'm a jazz singer. I'm an R&B singer. I'm a gospel singer. I mean, so when it came down to doing my first record, I was like, oh, what am I going to sing? Like, I don't know. I love to sing all of it. Back then that was like a bad thing. That was a curse, because you had to be one thing.
Yeah.
And then put you in this box and you had to, and now it's not that way anymore. Thank God. But, back then it was. And so I had and I still to this day have such a hard time, defining my genre, because I love to sing. I sing music. That's my genre. I sing music. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm a soulful singer, but I can sing rock soulful. I can sing gospel soulful. So that being said, I've still not really found me as this box.
Yes.
But I believe that I have a signature sound. You know what I mean? And as we all do.
Right.
Our signature sound is what speaks to music. You know what I mean? If you can, whatever type of song you're singing, you can know who the vocalist. Like,
right.
put it, you could put 3 songs, but if Gladys Knight puts her voice on it, it's Gladys.
Yes.
You don't have to be that voice. Yeah, that's your signature sound. And it runs through any kind of genre. You know what I mean? And so that's how I've always believed that music and singing should be. I don't want to be boxed into a corner. Just because it sells records, or which I don't even know if that happens anymore. But so it's. But I mean, that being said, I did secular music for so long. About 2012 or 13, I was introduced, to the Lord, and it changed my life. I had a new purpose, you know what I mean? And I thought, okay, I don't want to just sing about love and guys and, this and that and, whatever. I said, I want to sing about the Lord. I want to talk about what he's done for me and where he's brought me to and where I'm going with him, and how he makes me feel and how he loves me and how, I can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
And kind of had a change then, and that's why I wrote the Ashes to Beauty record, because I felt like I needed to. And again, even those were Christian lyrics, it's still, it has reggae on it. It has rock on it. It has R&B on it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's got worship ballady, big
ballad
on it. So it still has lots of genres on it, but it just had a focused lyric, lyric. So, I think that, you think is a blessing and a curse sometimes,
Yes. I get it.
You do, because you know.
Yes. How can you talk about your songwriting process for those who are listening who are songwriters? What has been? You said you weren't a songwriter at first. How did you get into songwriting, and how has it been with even maintaining your creative voice through the different seasons of life, and even this season that we're in?
Wait. Again, like I was looking for songs to record, and a lot of songwriters would send me songs, and I would say, oh, I love this verse, but the chorus doesn't lift enough. Or I love this chorus, but the lyric isn't, really saying what I want to say. Or I wish this song had a bridge to it, because I feel like it doesn't go anywhere, And so I kind of always had this, I wish. And I just basically started going, maybe I should just start writing melody. I started with melody,
Nice.
And so, people would send me tracks and I would write melodies to it. And then I just started, honing in on lyric writing. It came pretty natural to me. And I just started writing, obviously my first songs weren't as good as the later, but it was a process,
Yes.
I mean, songwriting classes, I never did. I just went with my gut, and my instinct of where the melody should lift and where it should go. I still do that. I haven't been writing as much, just because this season has been, it's just weighing heavy on me this season. I mean, every direction is like just a hot mess.
Yeah.
It hasn't been very inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
But, I haven't been writing as much, but I have been writing. But, I'm a big fan of really, really, really classic songs, the 80s songs and, the 90s, big ballads. I love bridges, and I love big hooks, and I love, lyrics that just make you go, whoa,
I love it. Yes.
Can't wait to get my voice on them.
Yes. Someone was just talking to me about bridges. I don't pay any attention to bridges. Somebody was like, I love bridges. And I'm like, I don't even hear it most times. I'm like, the chorus or a good verse, a good, great lyric in a verse is like,
bridge
yes.
is a sweet spot, girl. You got a bridge. You got a good bridge, man.
Man, I love, but since she said that, I've been paying attention. I go, okay, there's the bridge. Oh, okay. I wasn't even paying any attention. How is collaborating? Are you a collaborative songwriter or you write alone?
Both. I play keyboard. I'm not a very good keyboard player. I mean, I would never get on stage and solo or anything like that. Yes. I mean, I play basic chords, but I love to collaborate. I mean, I actually prefer to collaborate because it just happens faster, you know what I mean? Yeah. And also it's not, only, because sometimes I'll tend to say like write lyrics that are like, I feel, I this, I that, when you collaborate with somebody, then you're thinking more general, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I love to collaborate,
Yes. Can you talk about what is your, even in talking about the process of finding you, how is it that you have found you in the songwriting process and how do you maintain that creativity?
How do I find me in the songwriting process? Well,
or your voice, let's say find your, how do you maintain your uniqueness in songwriting? Because it's, again, we in this industry, we're constantly putting on so many different hats depending upon the job. Yeah. And then you go and, okay, well, here's me and I'm going to write this song and whatever. How do you do that?
I think, a lot of it has to, there's several parts, there's arranging, there's, again, there's, there's certain arrangements that I will write that always sound like me. Sometimes I want someone else to arrange it because I know exactly what I'm going to do with this song. I know I get it. It's going to sound probably like Les too. Yes. You know what I mean? So I think that, I always just be real with it, be real with the song. If your voice, a lot of people don't like singing big choruses. You know what I mean? They don't want to go way up there. They don't want to take it far. They don't want, they like, 2-line, maybe like two line choruses. I like big lyricy choruses. You know what I mean? I think it's just being true to yourself, and also like, as far as like keep like maintaining yourself, even though you're singing on other people's projects or, whatever, again, you have that signature sound, people hire you because they want your sound.
Yes.
That blend with your sound. I hire Aretha because this, I hire Josie because this, I hire whoever it is because they have that sound that they need for that track. Yes. So it's not necessarily you giving up you know what I mean? It's just you adding to, it's putting you on to something else as opposed to just losing, I have to sound like somebody else because that's not really what it is. That would be
good.
We are artists.
Yeah.
It is an art and it's our job. You know what I mean? So, I've had commercials say, can you sound like this person? Can you sound a little like that person? And it's my job to try and sound as close to that artist as possible,
Right.
But it's still me, you can only sound, otherwise I'm I'm just mimicking and then you can, anybody can come in and do it, because you still need something, you need a singer to do it,
Right.
I hope that makes sense.
It does. Can you talk about what has been like one of your most, like, first off the top of your head, what has been one of the most exciting opportunities that you've gotten? Or one of the most exciting places your gift is taking you?
Wow. I mean, there's been so many places. I mean, I think one of the things that comes like right to me wasn't as a solo artist. It was as a background artist. I remember standing on the stage in Phoenix, Arizona, with Don Henley and the Eagles.
Nice.
Singing Hotel California.
Nice.
Like thinking about it right now, I have like chills going up my back going, I just remember, that's a song I grew up singing, grew up listening to.
Yeah.
Everybody on the planet Earth knows the lyrics of this song.
Yes.
And here I was on stage, just, singing my part, backgrounds, watching that was one of the like just memorable times. That's a big one. Another one was when I was like 11, was I 12 or 13 years old. I opened up for the Beach Boys in front of 150,000 people at the Chicago Fest.
Come on. 12
and girl, I wasn't even nervous. I was like, how many people are out there? 150,000. Cool. Let's do it. Just cocky.
At 12.
Now I'd be like,
I know. Oh, if we just had the fearlessness of our younger selves. They'd be like,
right. I was like, all right, it's my check. Let's go. I had my own band. I had my own original music. I mean, I was ready to go. And we brought 150,000 people. I mean, those are like memorable moments. I mean, that solo artist, one as a background artist, Yes. So those are some, and you're not going to believe this, but in all my years of being in the music business, I've never been to Europe.
Wow.
Anybody out there wants?
I know. Send me.
I want to see Italy, please.
Yes.
Yeah, it's always been, the Caribbean, the States.
Yeah. That's me in Africa. I've always wanted to go to Africa. I'm like, can someone send me? I want to go.
I'm like, I want to go. I'll sing for free. I should say that probably.
I know. They're not that bad. Not that bad. But send me the plane ticket. I'll get on. Now, tell me, going back to motherhood, how has motherhood changed your touring, your singing process? How has motherhood changed everything?
Wow. It's not about me anymore. You know what I mean? It's the bottom line. It's before, I would wake up and I'd go to the gym and I'd go shopping and I'd get my hair done and work on my new songs and go into the studio and it's very different now, touring, I have babysitters, you know what I mean? It's a different, you have to think twice, like right before this interview, you know what I mean? It was like, okay, I'm making him dinner right away and getting him organized and okay, making. Hi, Rita.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not about exactly. So, it's more about him now. I pour myself into him now. And my husband, of course, you know what I mean? It's my family now. It's not just do Josie all day. It's not do me, it's do them. And I love that. I really don't mind the sacrifice whatsoever. To me, it's growth. I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've given my career, 5 decades, well, not 5 decades, but 4 decades, you know what I mean? Over. Yes. And, I had a wonderful time in it. I love it. And I'm still in it and I'm still hustling.
Yeah.
Still writing and recording and performing and touring. And, I'm still doing it all.
Yeah.
But, it's not all I do now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, after having Matthew, why didn't I never wanted kids? I never ever, because I was always gone and doing this and doing that. And, I had a cat and a dog and that was enough. I was like, oh, I got to get home. I've been gone for 2 days. I got to go feed the cat.
Right.
So, that was enough for me. And now I could kick myself in the butt because I wish I'd had more kids. Wow. I wish I had done this earlier. I mean, now we're done. That's old girl. But, now I wish I would have had 2 more kids. You know what I mean? I would have done this earlier. I wish I wish. It's God's plan and it happened the way it happened. But, I wish I could have, had children earlier because I definitely, he needs a brother. We're going to probably adopt. He needs a brother to play with so I can get a break.
Right. I get it. That one child. Single child. Yes.
Only child syndrome too. Big time.
Yes. Now, can you talk again? I'm talking to my audience, people who are younger and who feel like, they're looking at moms and feel like, oh, they have to give up everything to become a mom. There is some sacrifices you talked about. Well, how have you grown? How has your career grown? Or what are some of the positive things you can talk about that have happened since you become a mom?
Well, I get Mom-Versation interviews.
Hey,
I never would have gotten this before. No, I mean, you know what? Look, several people have babies and are in the music business. You know what I mean? That's, there's sisters and mommies and, it's not my situation. My mom unfortunately passed 2 weeks after Matthew was born. Wow. So I didn't have, someone to, babysit all the time or whatever. But, people have kids, I mean, there's several of my friends that are in their 30s that have children, and they're still touring and they're doing things. I mean, it's extra work. There's extra things that have to be done. It's not all about you anymore. You know what I mean? I definitely want to say that you have to have kids. Have them when you're ready to have them, because you don't want them to be like,
right.
It's not fair to the child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kids. I mean, I take Matthew to my gigs. He gets on stage with me on sound check. He checks my mic. He loves.
Yes.
He's always playing on something. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so much fun. You can totally bring your children with you. They love it. He's musical. You know what I mean? I definitely. I mean, there's so much you can do with children. You know what I mean? In the music industry, and who knows? He might want to do modeling one day, or he might want to sing one day. I already just put him on a duet. My first project with my own studio and me engineering. We did a duet, and that was patience.
As always.
Yes. That was some patience. But I mean, it was, he's so much fun, and he's, at that age where he's just sucking it all in right now. You know what I mean?
Yes. I love it. I love it. And I've seen, if you again have not seen this beautiful boy, we'll put her handles up her social media handles so you can see little Matthew. He's adorable. Yeah. Well, as we're coming down to our last few questions, can you talk about some of the ways that you've hit failure along the way, and how have you overcome? What does that look like for Josie?
Yeah. I've done a lot of failing in the music business and mom. I mean, both. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's all a learning process.
Yeah.
It's all a learning process. Nobody does anything perfect. I think the biggest mistake that mothers make is they compare their child with others.
Yeah.
A lot. And I feel that a lot. Matthew at first wasn't, talking very quickly. And I was so worried. I'm like, well, all the kids are saying 10 words and he's not saying 2 yet. Now he doesn't shut up. So I did, again, like my mom passed right after he was born. So I didn't have someone with experience over me. My sisters are in Arizona and Chicago. So I didn't have my family around me. So I was tossed into it, boom, learn it, be a mom, figure it out. And I had to really trust my maternal instincts, which is something I definitely recommend to tell people. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. They're never wrong. They really are never wrong, failure in the music business. I've made lots of bad choices. I made a lot of bad choices. Signed with the wrong producers, signed with the wrong label, but it's all a learning process. You live and you learn, you just keep moving. The music business is a constant hustle. It's constant. I don't believe you ever arrive. You just keep the journey.
Yeah.
You just keep the journey, I mean, I'm, in my 50s now, and I'm still doing it. I never thought that way. I just it's just instinct. You just keep going, and God just keeps supplying new opportunities. You trust God, pray to him.
Yes.
And just believe that, he'll make a way for you. It's your calling,
I love it.
Yeah.
What is the greatest lesson you're learning in this season? And it can be the pandemic season, it can be this age, it can be however you take that. And I want to give a shout out. Hey, Tony. Hey, Terry. Terry says, Josie and Aretha, love and deep respect to you both.
Hi. The biggest lesson that I've learned in this season is gratefulness. Because I've seen everything go in a second with some people. It can all be gone in a blink.
Yeah.
I've seen people lose their house. I've seen people lose their jobs. I've seen people, lose their health. I think that we really just need to be more grateful and appreciate where we're at, and appreciate every day. Appreciate that you wake up every day, and you're still doing what you love to do. People get, very depressed. This season has been, I'm one. I've gotten very, very depressed. I've gotten very dark. This season was very, very trying, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I've questioned everything because I'm like, I just wasn't prepared for this. You know what I mean? No, I don't think anybody was,
Yeah.
And, it's really taken toll on so many people. And I've seen so many people lose it. They've lost their they're in therapy, and, I think just gratefulness is the word that like screams at me when you say, what's the one thing,
Yeah.
Gratefulness. Be grateful. Be grateful.
Yes.
We're going to make it through all this. We are,
We are. We're going to be on the other side of this looking back. Like, woo, do you remember that time? You remember that time? Yes. And that kind of goes with the next question. What does taking care of Josie look like in this season?
Mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit. That's kind of the, as you called it, the mantra.
Yes.
My mind, sleep.
Yeah.
That's one thing you don't get much of with children.
Yeah.
Sleep, yoga, prayer, eating healthy, massage,
Yes.
just taking care of yourself, because, that's another thing that, when you have a child, when you have a child, you only have one kid this way. But when I've seen people with like 2 or 3 kids, I'm like, how do you?
Yes.
I can't imagine, you are so busy dealing with them all day long. You're making them breakfast and you're giving them a bath and you're teaching them this, because I'm homeschooling right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I'm teaching them this, and then it's time for lunch, and then it's time for this nap, and then I got to go grocery shopping while he's taking a nap, and then I got to get back and prepare for dinner, and then and then it's 8 o'clock, and I put him to bed, and I'm going, what have I done for me? Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
So you have to really, my husband and I, plus my husband's working from home, so. So I'm like, excuse me while I step outside and,
Yes.
But, you have to make time for yourself, and for me, it's, worship is a good one. I feel like that just really gets me back on track. When I start to get down, that's a good one for the spirit,
Yes. Yes. That was going to be my next question. How does faith inform your journey? How has faith informed your journey thus far? And how does it inform your future?
That's an easy one, because when I get really impatient with Matthew, or I look at him like, okay, you've learned your ABCs 75 times in the last 3 days. Why are you still not getting, why are you still messing up with LMNOP? And I think to myself, God's probably saying, Josie, how many times have you screwed up? How many times have you repeated the same mistakes over and over? How much grace and mercy have I shown you? Show it to your son,
Yes.
I feel like God is constantly, checking me and, reminding me and informing me, as you called it, just to, be more patient, be more loving, be more, because kids can test you.
Yes.
Matthew, come here. And he doesn't listen to me. Matthew, come here. He's ignoring me. He's TV or he's doing something, whatever. Matthew,
Yes.
And I think to myself, God, how many times has God called me and I'm totally distracted?
Oh, you're pushing some buttons now.
Yeah, that's the spirit for me.
Yes.
Same thing with my husband. He was like, man, I can't imagine how God's been like 40 years and you're still doing those stupid things and you're still saying and you have those stupid thoughts. How many times have you read the Bible? How many times have you read the scripture? How many times have we? So
Yeah. But His grace. Hey,
His grace.
But His grace. All right, we're coming to our last few questions. I love to hear the answer to this. If you met Matthew, say later in life, in his 20s, 30s, 40s, somewhere in there, what would you want Matthew to know about you and your journey?
I almost died having him.
That's real.
You better love your mother.
Real.
That I was, loved him so much. I made the best life I could possibly make for him. I want him to be strong. I want him to be, focused. I want him to be accountable, boy, I sacrificed a lot for him, it's kind of a creepy question, but it's true. I mean, I would want someone to either tell him if I'm not here. That's another thing that's like, that's why I think it feels creepy to me, is because being my age, my prayers are, Lord, will I see him graduate? Will I see him get married? Will I ever see a grandchild? I mean, will I make it that long? These are prayers that 20 and 30-year-old mothers don't have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but these are, again, the demographic.
The reality. Yeah.
What I would want him to know about me is basically that I want him to, I did everything I can to give him the life that he has.
I'm going to ask you this question. I hope it's not, you can say you don't want to answer it. I know you talk about your dear mother that you lost, as an encouragement to other mothers who are in the thick of it. What did you appreciate about your mother that maybe she didn't realize? What did you take for granted that you maybe want to encourage other mothers with, that you just adored about your mom, and maybe they're in the thick of it and they're like, my child, but what do you miss about your mother? What are those things that you adored about her?
My mother was amazingly strong. I mean, she, and growing up as a teenager, I hated it. You know what I mean? Because, it was like, I just couldn't get past her,
Yes.
She was just all up on me, and rightly so. I was in the music business at 14 and 11 years old, traveling all over, and she had to be with me a lot because I was a minor,
Yeah.
But, now her strength, I mean, she lost her mother early, she lost her mother and 2 babies at 21 years old, and so the parallels are amazing with my mother and I. It's incredible.
She lost her mom after she died in childbirth or something?
21 years old, and she had 2 babies. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she raised her children with no mother as well. So it's very interesting. But my mother, with her strength, she didn't fold under pressure. She was always like, she'd light up a room when she'd walk in. She'd make you laugh. She was we used to say she's a pisser. I mean, she would just make you laugh. She was always saying something that, would just crack you up and keep you lifted. She was the matriarch of my family, and it's in a sense, it's who I've become, a more modern version of her.
Yeah.
I'm actually becoming her. I'm the strong one now, I'm the one that keeps it together, and puts my foot down for things, and keeps Matthew, because I'm all he has, and his daddy. And we're, again, like, our family is scattered all over, so but yeah, I mean, my mother was amazing, and she was very, very strong, and that's the quality of that just stands out like blaring light. She's also very smart. She always was very supportive, very loving, very giving. These are all qualities that I have picked up on,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll give you the shirt off her back, and she's very, very Sicilian mother, she's always feeding everybody.
I love it.
Feeding everybody.
Wow.
If you're not hungry, tough, you got to eat.
Now that brings up an interesting question, as we're closing. I'm going to keep closing. This will be my last question. How are you, for Matthew, you have Sicilian and Jamaican cultures. How are you? Have you all already discussed how you're, what's the word, blending those together, or teaching? Are you teaching him both cultures? How does that work in a, what is the word? I can't think right now. But double culture home.
Yeah. He speaks Italian, Matthew.
Does he?
Speaks patois to him all day, all night. So he's not speaking it yet, and he'll probably sound like a little Jamaican when he does. But but his godparents are Jamaican. You know what I mean? He's already been to Jamaica.
Wow.
This little boy eats curry goat, oxtail. I mean,
My favorites. Hey.
He's planting. He, like I said, he speaks Sicilian. We all, we have Sicilian food. I mean, he is engulfed in culture.
I love it.
Absolutely. He listens to reggae music. He sings Bob Marley. I mean, he's just, and it's so cute to just watch an innocent little boy just, like a sponge, just taking in culture. I'm big on culture. I love to all cultures. We take this little boy, but we eat at Indian restaurants. We eat at Chinese restaurants. His daycare is owned by Chinese people. It's run by Indian women. This is, we're, he has to be in a multicultural facility, neighborhood, all of it. It's mandatory. This is, we have to. No.
Yeah. I love that. What lesson do you hope that he gathers in his multiculturalness? What do you hope that he brings to the world? And are you teaching, what lessons do you want to be teaching him so he fully lives into that as he gets older?
Love and trust God. Love God. Be accountable to God. That's a big one. Because like I said, mommy and daddy might not be, here for forever. He might be in his 20s and, on his own, who knows? So I think that, instilling Bible into him, instilling, reading the Bible, and, he prays every night. He prays, he blesses our food. He always goes, Mommy, can I pray? He's so sweet. And he always, talks to Jesus, I said, Mommy, there's a monster in my room. I said, don't worry. Who's in your room? I know Jesus is in my room.
Yes.
So, he's, that's, I think, the biggest one, to love the Lord.
Yeah.
Be accountable.
Yeah. I love it.
That's a big one. And he does.
Yes. Well, Josie, we're on our final question. And you sort of started talking about it already. I've read the Michelle Obama autobiography and watched the documentary. I love this question. They ended the documentary with, who are you becoming? So I want to place that to you also, Josie. Who are you becoming?
Like I said, I'm becoming a more modern version of my mom. I'm becoming a better version of me, I'm becoming, like I said, but all my life, it's just been me, you know what I mean? And I did me all my life.
Yeah.
Call me selfish, I guess, but that's, how we are in the music industry in a sense, because we're always, how do I get to the next level? How do I me? How do I get on this gig? How do I get on this tour? How do I me? So I think I'm becoming a better version of me. And I think I'm becoming something I should have been a long time ago, more true to myself, like you said, I am who I am now, like when I met Kevin, we're older now, it's time for the game playing to stop. Who am I? This is me.
Yeah.
What I like, this is how I feel, just learning, and also I'm learning to appreciate life so much more. And the my priorities are completely changed.
Yeah.
My family is the most important thing now. You know what I mean? Before I used to, somebody would call for a session, boom, gotta go. Don't care what's going on in my life right now. I gotta go. See you later.
Right.
It's feeding my family love and wisdom and having a prayer life with my family is really important now. My priorities have just changed.
Yeah.
I have to pour myself into my family now. That's really, and I've never done that. And that's who I'm really becoming now. It's like my mother. The good things about it. Because she can drive you nuts too.
Hey, yes.
Like we all do, right?
Right. We all have those.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Josie, and how do you say your last name?
You said it perfectly, girl.
Aiello.
Aiello.
Okay. Because I know I could say that different ways. I don't know. Okay, Josie Aiello, thank you so much for sharing your story.
I love you so much, Aretha. Thank you.
I love you. Thank you. We have learned, I know people who are watching have learned so much.
I hope.
And I'm just thrilled to just know you.
Thank
thank
you.
you for sharing you with my audience. I really appreciate
Thank you.
it.
It's my pleasure. I love you.
Yes, I love you too. And to everybody who's watching, thank you again, Tony and Terry, for putting a comment down. But those who are watching now or later, thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like and share it. And let me tell everybody, what are your social media handles, Josie? If you want to follow Josie and her story and the continue watching her journey and her family's journey and her musical journey, how can they find you, Josie?
I'm on youtube.com/Josie Aiello, Facebook/Josie Aiello. I mean, basically, it's just my name. Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, all /Josie Aiello.
Josie Aiello.
Find me. I'm easy to find.
Nobody else has your name. That's the beauty of it. You ain't fighting somebody for you. That's my handle. I handle. Yeah. So everybody, you can find. Please follow Josie and her journey, and check us out. We'll be on the Aretha Franklin stuff coming in January. We have the joy of doing that together earlier before the quarantine. So we're excited to see how that all comes out ourselves in January. Yes. So check us out and check out her projects as they come along. You can follow her journey. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.